Hey guys, welcome back to DCS World. I'm Spudknocker, as always. And today we're going to be doing a quick and dirty first impressions video of the brand new Mosquito Mark VI that was just released with an open beta update for DCS World. Now, the open beta update also came with some awesome new additions for the core of DCS World, but we'll be taking a look at those in some separate videos in the coming days. Of course, the most exciting thing here is the addition of a new aircraft, the Mosquito Mark VI, which, as you guys know, is a fighter bomber variant of the venerable Mosquito, the Wooden Wonder. As we can tell by the fact that it does not have a glazed nose, but rather that glazed portion of the nose in the bomb sight is replaced by 4 Browning 303 machine guns and 4 Hispano 20mm cannons, making this aircraft quite the ferocious strafer. So with that in mind, for today, we're going to start her up. We're going to taxi out, take off. We're going to go and fly a low-level route to another airport here in southern England. We're going to shoot up a couple of captured Nazi trucks out there for some training purposes. Then we'll climb up a little bit, maybe gain a little bit of altitude, maybe do a bit of a VMC demo, and then come back and land the aircraft for a short and sweet video for you guys. So as you guys know, the Mosquito is a conventional twin, so the left engine is most definitely the critical engine on this aircraft, and that is what we'll be looking at with the VMC demo to see how controllable this aircraft is with an engine out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop in and get started. Now, the cockpit is definitely very, very highly detailed, just like the P-47 cockpit of the last released World War II module. So we'll go ahead and get right into it and get started with the startup procedure of our Mosquito. So we'll go ahead and turn on the electrical systems for the aircraft. We'll come back here and we'll get our fuel tanks turned on. That should be about it. We'll get our props fully forward. We'll crack our throttles about ½ an inch forward. We'll call up our ground crew.
On the starter. Copy.
Alrighty, and he's priming our engines for us, and we'll make sure that our landing gear is safe. It is. Our guns are safe. Everything's forward. Throttle's cracked. Mixture is rich, so that is good for now. And to help you guys see a little bit, hopefully we can turn on our flashlight here to be able to see up underneath here to our starters here. First, we'll, of course, start up the port engine, and we'll lift the starter and booster cover. And we will hold this guy and right click on the boost. And she comes to life. Very, very easy to start the engines here on the Mosquito. These are very early versions of the Merlin engine. And then we will come to the magnetos for our starboard engine. We'll close the starter on our port engine. We'll open up the covers for start and boost. And we'll go ahead and we are all started up. Very, very simple and very easy startup procedure for the Mosquito Mark VI. Alrighty, so we got that. Let's go ahead and turn on a few things. We've got our gun cam. We'll turn that on. Nav lights, we'll go ahead and turn those on since we're going to be over the UK for today. We'll leave the UV light off. Pitot heat, don't need that. Fuel pump, don't need that either. Gun sight power switch, we'll leave that off for now as well. And definitely turn on our IFF so that way we don't have any friendly Spitfires come jump us because they think we're some bad guys. Definitely turn on our compass and our directional set. We'll leave the actual beam approach off so that way we don't have that static in our headset. Alrighty, we've got our RPM forward, and we will keep our mixture rich for our taxi here. Just looking around, making sure we've got everything else that we need. And we'll go ahead and definitely add some little bit of right rudder trim, and we will open up our radiators. Air filter does not need to be on. We've got a pretty improved airfield for today, so that'll make it easy for us. And just like we do in any tail wheel, we're going to go ahead and hold back our stick, and we will pull off the parking brake, gently advance the throttles, and because this is a British aircraft, very similar to the Russian aircraft in DCS World, we're going to hit the brakes repeatedly and gently squeeze them for a little bit of differential braking to help us turn. And here at Manston, we've got wind at 280 degrees coming down the runway. So as a result, we're also going to deflect our ailerons fully to the left-hand side, so that way we can have proper wind correction for a tailwheel aircraft. Going a little bit fast there. I come off to the left a little bit, don't want to smack our wing against that fence or these little buildings around us. Just gently moving the rudders all the time to keep us taxiing nice and straight, and we'll head off onto the runway. And we'll gently start to turn us onto the center line. And we'll get our tail wheel nice and straight. Alrighty. Okay, so we're now in a position where we can go ahead and get ready for takeoff. We've got our radiators open, we've got some right rudder trim. Let's go ahead and give some nose down trim as well. That'll help us ensure that we don't rotate off of the runway too early. And everything is looking good from what I can tell. Whoop, I can stick my head through the window. That's not great. Alrighty, so for the takeoff roll, I'm going to be holding the stick back to start off with, and because we're flying a twin-engine airplane, we're going to ensure that our RPM is full forward, and we're going to advance the throttles with full brakes to start off with. Of course, 100% holding our stick back, so that way we don't tip the airplane down onto its nose. Advancing those throttles. Everything's looking good, no asymmetrical thrust. So we'll go ahead and release the brakes. Be tapping on the brakes a little bit to keep the airplane pointed down the runway. Letting the stick come forward a little bit, bringing up that tail wheel. There we go. Looking good. And we're up off of the deck. Release the safety, gear up. And now that we're up, we'll reduce the boost. And we'll bring back the RPM. He's definitely not difficult to fly by any means, so we'll reduce some of that rudder trim a little bit. And we'll start to head out towards our target. And we'll make sure we're going the right direction here. Yep. Perfect. And of course, since this is Mosquito, we'll go ahead and drop her on down. This is the airplane that RAF Bomber Command and Fighter Command really did not want. They thought that de Havilland was crazy for wanting to build an airplane in the modern age, well, back then the modern age, that was made from wood. But it made sense that the aircraft being light, made out of wood, could go very, very fast, and could be constructed by folks who were not master metal workers or didn't have any experience with welding or things like that. But whereas there was many people in the British economy, especially earlier in the war, who had extensive experience with woodworking and things of that nature, that made it their skills easily transferable to the building of a wooden skinned and constructed aircraft. Probably what the Mosquito is most famous for is the low-level, high-speed penetration raids deep into Nazi Germany and occupied France, with the most famous, of course, being when the Mosquito ruined Göring's parade that was held for the 10th anniversary of the Nazi Party and Hitler coming to power in Berlin, in which small raids of 3 Mosquitoes in intervals messed up all of the Nazi Party parades, radio broadcasts, and preparations to celebrate this lofty achievement of having been in power for 10 years. Göring famously was always very infuriated by the Mosquito that the British were able to pull off such crazy feats with an airplane made out of wood. And we're just being very careful here with the engines. I don't want to blow out the engines on my first flight in the Mosquito. I kind of dinked around a little bit with it before to kind of get my keybinds set up. And we'll check our map, see where we're at. Alright, we're almost at our target area. So we'll go ahead and we will unsafe our guns. Oh, there is also something that you guys should be aware of, is the Mosquito does not like negative Gs. As you can see there, the carburetors of these early Merlin engines do not deal with negative Gs very well. So just keep that in mind as you're flying around in the future. And the beautiful white cliffs of Dover that you guys will definitely remember from my older P-47 first impressions video. And we'll reduce some of that rudder trim. No need to have so much of it at the moment. This aircraft has some pretty massive control surfaces on it, so you guys are definitely going to want to put some curves on your controls. Otherwise, this airplane is going to be so touchy, it's going to be very difficult for you guys to fly at first. Very maneuverable airplane for its size, and you can feel how light it is for its size. I would say that airplanes like the P-47 and DCS feel a heck of a lot heavier. So we'll go ahead and turn on our gun sight. Is this the gun sight? Where's the gun sight? There. Gun sight. And that moves you, by default, to the middle position in the cockpit to actually start working your guns across the target area. So we've got a small airfield here, where we do have some Nazi equipment on the airfield for us to strafe. Obviously, this is not historically accurate. We wouldn't be shooting up Nazis in southern England. So we can see some vehicles down there. I'll keep it zoomed in a little bit. Oh, and they're shooting back. Uh-oh. Definitely took a couple little hits there. I think we hit some of them back. Yep, definitely. But for 20mm cannons, whoop, there's that negative G on those Merlins, cutting out the fuel supply. And so 20mm cannons, 4 of them, is definitely going to shred ground targets. The 303 machine guns, not so much, but there's 4 of them right in line, so your long-range hitting potential is going to be very high compared to aircraft with their machine guns and cannons in their wings. So we'll come in for another strafing attempt here. Getting on our cannon trigger and our gun trigger. Definitely a pretty darn stable gunnery platform. Let's see if on this next strafing run we can get her more or less aligned with the wind, and that'll help us a little bit with our side slip. Whoop. Yep, there's that negative G. Got to be real careful of that. Or we just got to get used to it, because right now, it's hard to get used to, that's for sure. Whoop, something exploded down there. Not the best strafing run. Probably need to give myself a little bit more room. Whoop, shit. And we see we got a couple little holes, so for the sake of creating a good video for you guys, let's go ahead and leave those guys alone down there. We'll go ahead and resafe up the gun, and we'll start flying on back to Manston, I mean, and we will go ahead and climb slightly, and we will go ahead and do a VMC demo. Uh-oh. Maybe not. And that's not good, because that's coming from our critical engine. So we've got a fire extinguisher. Alright, well, I don't know if that's having any effect. But anyway, this aircraft is very, very easy to fly. And it is very fast. I think that it will be an aircraft that'll probably be able to outrun at least a couple of the existing World War II airplanes that are in DCS as of right now. Definitely still trailing something. We'll go ahead and reduce power on that left-hand engine. So I'll uncouple my throttles here. We'll just reduce the boost a little bit. and we'll do a VMC demo. That is kind of required for today because we do have damage to that left-hand engine. So we're going to go propped forward, full RPM. We're going to reduce power on our left-hand engine. And as the airspeed comes down, we will start to increase power on the right-hand engine. And I'll open up the controls indicator for you guys so you can see the length of travel of my right rudder. And as we slowly increase the boost on our right-hand engine, we can see that this aircraft is still maintaining very good controllability. So let's start to raise the nose and slow her down more and more. You can see how much right rudder input I'm putting in to keep the aircraft pointed straight and not in a side slip condition. And we'll start to add more power on that right engine. And we can see that it is a very controllable aircraft, even with an engine out. You can see videos of Mosquitoes, specifically the prototype Mosquito, doing aerobatics, specifically aileron rolls and loops, over the UK with the left engine out, which is very, very cool. It really shows just how agile this aircraft is and how well a performer it is on one engine. So we're back over Manston, so we'll bring back the boost on our right-hand engine, and our left-hand engine is still smoking, but everything in the cockpit here is showing that it is okay. So we'll go ahead and turn the gun sight off, move back to our normal seating position, and go ahead and couple our throttles again. That wasn't the best demonstration of a VMC, but you guys kind of get the idea that this is a very controllable airplane, which is fantastic. And we're coming down. Props are full forward. Got plenty of gas. We'll get the undercarriage down. Undercarriage is coming down. Flaps coming down as well. Adding a little bit of power. Got just a little bit of side slip, so we'll add a little bit of right rudder trim to compensate. And we're looking for that same beautiful golden triangle that we saw sitting on the ramp for our attitude on touchdown. We'll see if we can bring it in for a wheel landing, and if that fails, we'll just settle in for a three-pointer. Coming in, nice and gentle on the throttles. Heavy airplane, so we're going to keep some power in all the way until right before touchdown. Got a little bit of side slip, a little less trim, a little bit of left rudder here. Probably coming in a little bit fast. Oh, that touchdown was a little earlier than I thought. I think maybe our landing gear is damaged. Yep, I think so. All right. Well, I believe what happened there is our left wheel got punctured. I guess I should have looked at the external view of the aircraft before we landed. That left tire got punctured, and so we were riding on the rim there. Now that isn't necessarily shown in the 3D model on the outside, so I doubt I would have really seen it. But that's kind of cool that damage to that engine is also going to be reflected in damage to the landing gear. Very, very cool. Very fun airplane, very easy to fly, and I think people are really going to enjoy it. And I think it will be an aircraft that will help bring more people into DCS World War II because of the fact that it is very, very easy to fly and feels very forgiving once you kind of have some curves on those controls. So I hope you guys liked the video. It's kind of just a very brief introduction to the Mosquito and kind of a very brief, just kind of overall what I think of it. The cockpit is super nice. I think that the external model is okay. It's not nearly as detailed as, say, like an F-14, but it is definitely serviceable, and 90% of the stuff you're going to see is inside of your cockpit anyway. So we'll see you guys in the next one, and fly safe out there and enjoy the new Mosquito. I'm definitely enjoying it, that's for sure.